You make this 50,000, you miss it, we shave it right down the center. Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
Cut his hair.
Oh! No good! No! Good! Oh, wait! And
Rivalry week is upon us, and teams are hanging on by a razor's edge, no pun intended. We have got you covered. We got the Apple Cup all the way to clean, good old-fashioned hate. Over the next hour, we will take you through all of them, and a lot more than just bragging rights on the line here today on this rivalry day. Welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T. And guys, we can't talk about rivalry week without talking about the game, right? Michigan and Ohio State played today, and the stakes were as high or higher than they have ever been. Both teams undefeated. In essence, a trip to the College Football Playoff on the line, and Michigan outlasted Ohio State by a score of 30-24. Both programs coming into this game allowing less than 10 points per game. As you can see, both eclipsed that mark. It was a close game all the way through. Ohio State never actually led in this game. It was tied 17-all at one point, but when it came down to it, the battle of special teams and turnovers, Michigan won it. Here's what Ryan Day and acting head coach Sharon Moore had to say after the game.
I try to keep, what we talk about in the locker room to ourselves, but we're all disappointed. We know that what this game means to so many people, and so to come up short is certainly crushing, not only just because you invest your whole year in it. We know at Ohio State what this game means. And so, there's a locker room in there that's devastated. And it wasn't a lack of effort, but, again, we didn't win the rushing yards. We didn't win the turnover battle. So you're not going to win the game.
Sharon, you're obviously close to Coach Harbaugh. I was just wondering what your interactions were with him last night, even this morning, leading up to this game, and what your message would be to him right now.
Yeah, big thing he said to me was, he loved me and do me. And I told him the same thing. I love him, and we got his back. So, and like I said in the interview, is we got his back. We'll do anything for him. Players will run through a wall for him, so with the coaches. So we were just prepared to go win this game for him.
What a game it was. Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza, Sam Ravech here with you. And guys, that's now 3 straight losses for Ryan Day and these Ohio State Buckeyes against the Wolverines over the last 3 years. No doubt there's going to be some questions to be answered in Columbus, but what were your overall takeaways? We'll start with you, Scoob.
The fact that Michigan and JJ McCarthy were able to make the big plays when it mattered. 3 for 3 on 4th down for JJ McCarthy in this game, for Michigan in this game, and JJ McCarthy was locked in on 3rd and 4th down. You get Blake Corum, who was just efficient in the red zone. We've seen him do it all season long. 2 touchdowns in the red zone. Ohio State only giving up 3 the entire season coming into this game. And then I also look at the special teams, Matt, and I want you to touch upon this because we kept on talking about it. Michigan capitalized on those, not just in making their kicks, because their kicker made their kicks, and we saw Ohio State's kicker miss his kick when you said he shouldn't have taken the practice one. And then also punting, something as simple as punting, which was so huge. Michigan's punter was averaging 52 yards per punt, and then Ohio State's was averaging 36 yards per punt. All those things are huge in these games, and the fact that Ohio State also turned the ball over multiple times.
Tommy Doman, James Turner, the punter and the field goal kicker for the Michigan Wolverines here today. He went 3 for 3 on the day. The 50, like you just mentioned, was super clutch in that moment. Very similar to the miss by Ohio State. Similar part of the field, right? He had the middle of the field for that attempt, but Michigan, all 3 phases of the game is where they won. And this is what great teams do. It's not always pretty, and by no means, it's really never pretty for Michigan. Well, I think the greatest strength that they have as a football team, they make every game look ugly. Every game seems to look the same no matter who the opponent is. It looked ugly a week ago versus Maryland. Now you're thinking, they can't do that versus Ohio State. They're a more talented football team. Yada, 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 all these examples. And I was one of those people doubting them. And here they go again. They pull Ohio State down into the mud with them. They say, you can't play dirty football with us. They played physical at the line of scrimmage. They imposed their will when they needed to. Great play calls, right? The double pass late in the game, right? That was an awesome play. So the ability to take calculated risks when needed, the ability to win crucial matchups in the trenches. You know, Johnson versus Marvin Harrison in that first half, fantastic job. He goes down with an injury. Then Zinter goes down with the injury. So the one thing that I think is upsetting for Michigan fans here, you lost two really good football players. We don't know how long, but you got the win. We all know that the ultimate goal of this team in the season is win the national championship. So, you know, the question I have, can they do the same exact recipe for success against teams like Georgia? You know, can they do that against an Oregon or a Washington or a Florida State? You know, I was a doubter. I'm starting to kind of believe now that they can do it.
They're making it happen each and every single time, and their defense just continues to make plays when it really matters. Right. As the offense, when you look at the numbers for JJ McCarthy, it's really not mind-blowing. It doesn't stick out to you, but 16 for 20, just efficient, make the plays when it matters. As you said, those one-stop quick hits, those quick throws were all huge. And JJ McCarthy made some throws today where you're like, oh, that was a tight window ball that you just threw. A couple of them at first were like, oh, you got away with something. But then as the game went on, continued to make those timely throws. And I also think back to towards last week when JJ McCarthy was talking about his leg injury. He had a leg injury against Penn State, went into Maryland, feeling a little worse than he had the weeks before. But then coming into this game, he said he felt great. And we saw him use his legs multiple times.
And that was my one issue, with Ohio State in this football game, too, is that they just haven't shown the ability to be able to affect the passer consistently enough. Right? We know that they're really good and physical at the front lines, but their inability to get actual sacks, to get the quarterback on the ground, was really one of the big things that they missed out today. JJ McCarthy did a great job on 3 or 4 plays that really maybe were the difference in the game, keeping drives alive, scrambling and making good throws on the run. And that was, you know, the subtle difference in this football game at times.
You both mentioned the doubt and some of the hate, and Michigan has kind of embraced being the villain so far this season with the sign-stealing scandal. And wide receiver Roman Wilson added some fuel to the fire in his post-game presser.
I told the receivers this whole week, like, you got guys back there, like, this is the thing that I thought too, like guys who you want to put on like the Louis V, like the $1,000 outfit, like you want to act hard, but when we're out there, like they're not hard. Like I see the film, like you're not tough. Like, and I don't think I'm the toughest guy in the world, but you know, I'm out there, I'm getting physical. Like I don't think they wanted it like how I wanted it.
It's great. It's great. I mean, Michigan has now fully embraced being this kind of personality.
Let's go, Roman Wilson.
I mean, I don't know. Your thoughts on the comments?
Wilson didn't play last week, so he was back in this game, had some huge catches. That touchdown, too, where it looked like he might have gotten fumbled with interception, but got in the end zone anyway. Hey, you won the game, big fella. Go ahead and talk your talk.
It was also J.J. McCarthy's first touchdown pass in a month.
And that's what's amazing to me too is that they really don't need him to do a ton. You know, he really is kind of the ultimate quote-unquote game manager, you know, for this football team. This team is loaded with NFL talent. I mean, we're going to see it in the draft next year. The entire defense, offensive line, I mean, it's ridiculous how many good football players that they have on this football team. Now, the question really will remain again for this team. You know, well, actually, I want to make this quick point. So happy that we didn't notice the refs too much because there was a lot of plays in this game, right, that could have been the ref took this from this. Or they were consistent the entire game. We only saw 4 flags on the game, and I feel like they were very consistent with the completions and all that kind of stuff. So I just appreciate the fact that we didn't notice the refs in a crucial moment.
So we knew coming into this weekend, one of the teams that would be playing in the Big Ten title game, and that would be Iowa out of the Big Ten West. We had to wait to see who would be facing them, and now we have that answer. So Michigan and Iowa. Iowa, obviously, not a great offense this year, but they will go up against one of the best defenses again right next to them. So I imagine this is going to be another low-scoring game, but your quick thoughts on what this matchup might look like, guys.
Man, this is going to be like old school, like Maximus Decimus Meridius in the Coliseum, man. I mean, both teams are going to walk in there with the biggest sledgehammer they can find and see, you know, who can bloody up the guy more, you know. And I just think that Michigan is just more accustomed to playing these games and scoring more.
Another episode of the Big Ten Championship being a straight-up blowout. That is what I have to say.
The first half, I think, will be fun.
Congratulations.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you this before we leave. Ohio State loses this game to Michigan today. Are they out of the playoff, or do they still have a chance?
They have a chance, but they need a lot of crazy stuff to happen, though. They really do. They need Florida State to lose. They need Washington or Oregon to beat Washington.
I need somebody to explain this to me.
63% chance still. Mind you, that is still higher than Alabama, even if they were to win out.
And that's after the loss today.
That's
after the loss today. They still have, according to the All-State playoff predictor, a 63% chance to reach the CFP.
Come on, man. Stop it.
The math's not
Stop
mathing, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, listen, smarter people do those analytics than me, but, Alabama beating Georgia, Florida State losing to Louisville, that's where I feel like chaos would ensue. So that's where it gets difficult for the college football playoff.
That's a come on, man. That's all you got to say.
No, I'm with you, Scoob.
All right, time now for AT&T Countdown to the CFP National Championship. And Alabama,
let's talk about it,
nearly saw their college football playoff hopes evaporate in the Iron Bowl. And it came down to 30 seconds left. Alabama down, and Jalen Milroe with a last-second heave to Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone.
Himmy Neutron.
To win the game 27-24.
Everything.
I mean, guys, we have seen some epic Iron Bowls in years prior. This one comes down to it, and Alabama did just about everything on that last possession to hand this game over to Auburn. The bad snap, the illegal forward pass by Jalen Milroe, which, by the way, was his second of this game.
What are we doing?
You had to do that to him.
I'm sorry,
you had to do that.
And one was in the end zone for a touchdown. They called it back. But
we forgot about all that after.
Yeah, that's right. You know why? Because they made the play that won the game, Sam.
We digress.
You play to win the game.
So
okay?
Chaos? You want chaos? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, please. Okay. So Alabama wins this game. But, it was almost like a look-ahead game, right? They're going to the SEC Championship, which we'll talk about in a second, to play Georgia. But, guys, I mean, they skinned by. I mean, this was really close to being the end of the season for Alabama, and yet here they are, surviving and advancing. This is like March Madness.
Yeah, real quick, shout out to the YouTube chat. I'm in there right now. Noah Rainey, he asked for a shout out. Shout out to you, Noah. Go Bama. Let's give Noah a round of applause. Yeah,
my Venmo account is
But
this ain't free.
About the game, y'all. That fourth down conversion by Jalen Milroe was something that we haven't seen pretty much ever. Entering today, teams have been 0-90 on fourth down and third down conversions of at least 30 yards or more. And Jalen Milroe did that in the final seconds of the game when it all mattered. It almost looked like the throw was going to the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I thought it was
but
going
honestly, it couldn't have gone anywhere else. That was the only spot the ball could have gone. And the fact that he made that play, Sam, after making such a blunder of a mistake the play before, where he should have ran for it. The camera cut to Nick Saban on the line where when Jalen should have just ran and gotten the first down, and Nick was like, go! Heated and completely fired up. That he didn't
you were pretty heated, too.
Your mouth's fired.
This guy was coaching us up like we weren't watching the game with him. He's like, he's got to do this. We're like, we know, Scoob.
He made up for it, though.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
But they did it, and it was just an incredible throw, Matt, and the numbers also jumped off the page.
Yeah, they did. And what's really cool, too, about this is, one, we were all kids there for a second,
we were.
Just enjoying football, which is so fun. It just doesn't matter. And this is what's so great about this sport. But the X's and O's, it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, it's about your Johnnies and Joes. And Milroe is phenomenal. This dude and what he has done this year, what he did today, 259 through the air, 103 on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is an absolute playmaker. He's a fun watch. He plays with such a great charisma and attitude out there in the football field. It's hard not to be a fan of him. And, I'm glad that they survived, because now there's going to be even more of a build-up for this Alabama-Georgia game, which I think is going to be a coup de grace of the season.
And let's not forget.
I mispronounced it twice.
Let's not forget, Georgia did struggle with Auburn, too. Auburn, I think, just showed everyone that they are a solid football team.
But they just lost to New Mexico State, didn't they? Like a week
They
ago.
did.
But
They're very
this is college football, and we've talked about this in previous weeks for everyone that comes here to watch.
I'm just saying.
Sometimes you're so much better than a team, but even though you can beat them 9 times in a row, that 10th time they're gonna get you.
The whole premise of the Little Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt.
One time, that's all you need.
That's all you need. But you're right though, and I think the thing to take away from this is that if Hugh Freeze can do a good job recruiting, being consistent with kind of developing what he does offensively and the scheme and all that, like this team should be more relevant going forward, especially now with, who's coming into the conference. Auburn is, on the right track to getting back to normal.
Right, so Alabama will exhale and quickly move on to Georgia next week in the SEC Championship game. Now, Alabama has been Georgia's kryptonite in this game over the last couple of years. They are a perfect 3-0 against Georgia in the SEC title game.
That's also a shout out to somebody in the chat who said Georgia is Alabama's daddy, because when you look at the number to what Sam just said, they have yet to beat them in the SEC title game.
So what is the key for Georgia to try to not make that 4-0 in the SEC title game?
Yeah, I mean, the key really is for Alabama, can you slow down Carson Beck and what they've been doing offensively? This dude has been playing absolutely phenomenal lately. I see an NFL first-round talent quarterback out there. That's really what I see with Carson Beck and his growth of the position. Now, the cool thing is that, I've said that to Skubie in the past. I kind of see that at times with Jalen Milroe too, and what he's doing. If he can kind of polish his game up a little bit more, only being a sophomore, like I said. So it'll be, can Georgia be multiple on defense like they've been late in the year, causing pressure with outside guys, on the outside, the linebackers, the DBs, all the different looks that they do, confuse Alabama's offense and making sure that they eliminate those big explosive plays down the field. And then, really telling today, Alabama had a tough time stopping Auburn's run. They were very one-dimensional, but yet they were able to push Alabama around consistently today. I think Georgia will take a look at this tape and say, hey, we have some opportunities both in the passing game and the running game from what we saw.
Let's talk a little bit more about Carson Beck, Scoob, and I'll come to you on this because I think, he's still relatively an unknown commodity, at least at the national scale, right? He waited his turn behind Stetson Bennett, finally got his opportunity, and he's made the most of it. But he was handed the keys to a Ferrari and told don't crash the car. And not only has he not crashed the car, but he has helped Georgia win 3 straight games over top 25 opponents. So what's the biggest challenge that Carson Beck poses to this Alabama defense?
The fact that he is usually untouched when he's back there. 10 sacks on the year, that's 6th in the nation. And then that Georgia offense overall is just so talented, from the offensive line to the running backs, wide receivers, and the tight end, as we know about Brock Bowers. They also hold the ball longer than any other team in the nation. 34 minutes per game. That is about a minute and some change ahead of the next person. So Carson Beck has the benefit of being able to throw in a clean pocket, has the benefit of being able to just give it to the playmakers the same way that Brock Purdy has in the NFL. It's almost reminiscent with Carson Beck, and I just think he's not as big of a personality and as loud of a personality as some of the quarterbacks who we speak of on a national level, and maybe that's why he's not getting the recognition, because he's the guy on a team with a bunch of guys.
Right. And obviously Brock Bowers, the first time in college football history or football history that a tight end is probably more, prominent of a player nationally, but a Ferrari is a Ferrari. If Sam Ravech got in a Ferrari and he's lined up next to Sam Ravech,
look good in that thing,
hey man, you look good in it. But if you're next to Max Verstappen, we know what's going to happen.
Right,
So Carson Beck, I think, is doing his thing. He's one of the most improved college football players this season, along with Jalen Milroe, which is I think really exciting for this matchup. And Carson Beck, he is a talented thrower. This dude is super gifted that way. So it's really going to be a great, just battle that way. Which quarterback and which offense can get their quarterback in more rhythm? Which defense can really scheme up more confusing looks for that quarterback, slow the run game, and be a little bit more physical on the line of scrimmage?
So I think we can all agree that if Georgia wins the SEC title game, undefeated, assuming they beat Georgia Tech tonight, they're in. But I'm not so sure that Alabama's path is going to be as clear, especially when you factor in what happened tonight against Auburn. So, Maddie, does Alabama need some style points in this game? Like, do they need to beat Georgia by a certain number? Or, what's their path? Or are they even in control?
Yeah, I think really this is going to be one of those Nick Saban things where it's like, let's just control what we can control. Let's just beat the best team in the country. And if we beat the best team in the country, it should be very difficult for all those people who are in that playoff committee to say that we are not one of the best teams in it, and make them make the difficult decision of saying us or Texas, and just reminding them that our resume of late is more impressive than there is.
No doubt. Let's go ahead and talk a little about the Big 12, because it's been a tight race all season long. Texas took on Texas Tech last night, Scuba, the trip to the Big 12 title game on the line.
Yeah, and they can clinch it here with the dub, as you said, and we're still yet to find out who they'll be playing. So let's see the first place from scrimmage. It's Jaden Blue. Look at him move. Oh, he's a smooth operator. Too fast, untouched for the 69-yard touchdown. He had 10 carries for 121 yards. We'll go to the third quarter. The Longhorns up 19. Keelan Robinson on the kick return to start the second half, and he's too fast, too furious, too fast for y'all, man. That's a little shout out to Too Fast, Too Furious, Ludacris. Saying, acting a fool. That's what they were doing in the Longhorn Stadium, fourth quarter. Same score. Hey, look who that is, man. That's Archie Manning making his college debut for Texas, and the crowd was still acting a fool when he got in there. He gave him more of a reason to cheer. How about I use my legs over here, huh? Yeah, Archie, looking like a track star with that one over there. They would come up scoreless in that drive, though. Fourth quarter, his second drive, third down. Archie says, I got your back like chiropract. Makes the throw to Jonte Cook on the pass. And that was his first college completion. We're always going to be looking at this for him like a newborn that we're just so happy to have. Oh, that's his first completion. That's his first touchdown. That's his first time doing this.
Had a lot of high voices on the show.
It's a Manning.
He's beautiful.
They add to the lead, y'all, 57-7. Towards the end of the game, Sam, they could have just put this away, but they decided to keep piling it on to let the committee know, like, we're out here.
No, they piled it on, and they wanted to make sure, with this being kind of entering the last week of the regular season, they wanted to make sure that they left no doubt. Speaking of leaving no doubt, the path for Oklahoma is a narrow one, but still a chance if they were able to beat TCU to make it to the Big 12 title game. To pick it up in the first quarter, Oklahoma up 7-6.
Boom!
Dylan Gabriel finding Jaden Gibson, 59-yard strike for the TD, and he takes a TCU Horned Frog with him into the end zone. Sooners go up 14-6. After an answer from TCU, it's 14-13. 150-yard connection wasn't enough. How about another one? Gabriel over to the top to Brennan Thompson for the 52-yard score. He's dancing to the sideline. Sooners extend their lead. It was all Boomers Sooner until Imani Bailey with the run up the middle. Bailey was outstanding in this one, by the way, for the Frogs. He went for 150 on the ground, his second 150-yard rushing game of the season. TCU tried to make this a game. It's 45-31, but Gabriel finding his guy Drake Stoops. They were both honored on Senior Day yesterday, received a huge ovation from the crowd, so that would put the Sooners up 52-31. Final score, as you can see, 69-45. So Gabriel threw for 400 yards for the third time this season. Running back Gavin Sawchuk had a career day, ripped off 130 on the ground as well. OU did their job, Scoob. Now they need some help from their crosstown rival, Oklahoma State, to keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. And that game,
it's about to get spicy.
Is getting spicy.
All right, so let's head over to BYU taking on 20th ranked Oklahoma State. If OSU wins, they're in the Big 12 title game. If they lose, Oklahoma gets in. And if you're Texas, you want the Sooners to play in the Big 12 championship. And in the second quarter, 1-point game, Al Bowman gets picked off here, and we're back to the crib like everyone on Thanksgiving. What a play there by Eddie Hecker. BYU takes a 14-6 lead. Late in the second, Retzlaff says, I got us, hits Keanu Hill, making plays like the cheetah. Tyreek Hill, y'all. That's a 50-yard throw. Little replay for y'all to see. That's on the great throw. Oh, my goodness. Later, BYU up 21-6. This play is special because it was special teams, the fake, and the big man.
Oh, my God.
Thoughts on him pressing the triangle button here, Matt?
This seemed like just like a move in the WWE right here. I appreciate his passion, his will, his grit, and his courage.
That's all right. Now on to the second half. Ollie Gordon says it's my time. Takeover season, plows in, makes it 24-13. Guess what? Ollie Gordon again. Whether he made it in was a little bit controversial, but the TD stands over here. OK State going for two. Bowman drops back and finds Rashad Owens, no relation to Terrell Owens. BYU only leads by 3, 24-21. And who else can you depend on at this point? Oliver Gordon. He runs it in. He's having himself a day. BYU able to get themselves in field goal range here.
Cash.
Nerves of steel.
Cash.
They're up They tied at 27. This game went into overtime.
Both scored.
We're tied at overtime, 34-34. As we just mentioned, the winner, if it is Oklahoma State, they get in the Big 12 title game. If they lose, it is Oklahoma getting into the Big 12.
This is great.
Oklahoma is sitting on the edge of their seat right now, hoping that Oklahoma State finds a way to lose this game. Mike Gundy has had some trouble when they have everything in their hand.
Yeah.
They can't finish it, and this would be a great opportunity for them to do so. As we welcome you back in the studio, we will try to see if we can dip into this game live in just a bit, but it's all knotted 34-34 right now. Oklahoma, as we said, took care of their business, and now they await the result of this one to see which Oklahoma team will play in the Big 12 title game against Texas.
Yeah, Oklahoma State down 18 points in
crazy.
this game. And then they make the comeback at this point to bring it into overtime. I almost wrote them out. It is turning out to be a great week of football, y'all, because we also still have Washington tied at 21 against Washington State. There is great football being played, and there's a lot at stake. Alabama almost losing. Now we got Oklahoma State almost losing. Washington's almost about to lose. Who else we got?
I know, it's crazy. but you made the point. You said that as we're going to take a look live here, you made the point that Texas would rather see Oklahoma than Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title game. Just remind everybody why.
Now, the reason why you want to see Oklahoma if you're Texas is because Oklahoma beat you, right? And when you look at Oklahoma's ranking, they're a higher ranked team than Oklahoma State. After their win last night, they're most likely to move up.
Sure.
And if you're Texas, you want your wins to be as good as possible resume-wise. So if you get a higher ranked Oklahoma team, you show the committee that you've avenged your loss. And not only that, you did it against a team that was respected in the college football playoff, because at this point, it's about who you beat and it's about how you beat them.
Sure. All right, so we got 1st and 10 here. Oklahoma State with the ball. We're in double overtime. Both teams scored a touchdown in the first overtime. So we are 34-34. Alan Bowman, who, as we saw in the highlight, had a couple of mistakes earlier in this game. He's been interception prone.
What we got here, Matt?
3-by-1 formation. Looks like we're going Allie Gordon time. Oh, no, we're taking the one-on-one to the sideline.
What it is?
Here.
Oh! He bobbed it. He bobbed it.
He's out.
Through the flag on the play. They might be calling pass interference on the defense here. They are.
Put a zebra jersey on that, because that is a great call.
That's why we pay him the big buck.
I'm sorry.
Pass interference, number 7.
I don't want to be affiliated with this group.
So we mentioned the stakes, obviously, for Texas, and they would like to have a rematch with Oklahoma, but which team do they just match up with better? Do you think there's one or the other? Oklahoma likes to go fast, too.
Texas is the better football team, no matter who their opponent is.
So they don't care?
No, it really doesn't matter. You know what? I think this is a great opportunity for Texas. Let's say if BYU does survive this and they play Oklahoma again.
Yeah.
Texas is definitely going to go out of their way, obviously, to avenge the loss. But if the opportunity is there to embarrass Oklahoma, too, right? And add, that cherry
That's
on
what
top.
you would want. If you do that, there's no doubt, because people have talked about.
What a bounce back.
Ollie Gordon! Oh! Was he in? Was he in? Yes.
Oh, dude, this
football.
guy is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. And let's remind everybody at home, too, like, he's a grown man. Like, he's not a finesse back by any means.
Nah.
The fact that he changed direction like this, throws a defender off of him.
Get off of me, little guy.
And then goes airborne.
High jump.
Wow. Ridiculous. A shot into the liver, and he just ate it.
6'1", 211 pounds. Right now, he's got 164 yards off 33 carries and 4 touchdowns, y'all.
You like this going for 2 here?
Second OT, 2-point attempt.
I think they have to
you
go
have
for
to
2.
go
You have
for
to
it.
go for 2 here. Wow, what a play.
Awesome play. The question is, what play call do you have here in this situation?
You go back to Ollie Gordon?
I mean, you kind of have to.
Full play action?
You really do.
That was his 5th touchdown. My goodness.
I feed Ollie Gordon the football here. I don't make football more complicated than it needs to be. I let my baller do his thing. He's the reason why we're back in this football game with this hard-nosed running. Now, the question is just, can you line up in a formation that gives you a man advantage in the run game? So we got a double tight end set here to the bottom of the screen. Motion. Play action pass, like you said.
Ooh. Good defense. Way to
Really
throw the
good.
ball.
Right.
Really
so,
good.
Now BYU will have to answer here, obviously, and we'll see what they're able to do on offense. But
I don't know. That's where you're going to be scratching your head a little bit right there too. Is there a play that they could have gone to that's maybe a little safer in that situation, right? Or not safer, but just I'm always opposed to taking the football away from your best football player.
no doubt, a lot on the line today, as you can see. Bowl eligible with a win for BYU and a trip to the Big 12 title game for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
If they can hold on. The banjos are out, cows are mooing. You know what time it is. It is time for Holy Cow Week 13 edition. We've got 5 fresh plays for you. We're going to rank them 0 to 100. And guys, there is no better place to start than Maction. We got Toledo.
We always start with
We always start with the Maction. We got Toledo here. How about Jaden Dotton going up to get this one? We got a couple looks at it. The camera couldn't even follow the first one, so we'll catch the second one.
Let me
But
see that again.
spectacular one-handed grab.
Nice.
Comes down with it. Corner of the end zone.
That's how you ate.
Oh, off the head.
I would say there's a little bit of luck in that one.
That-
You know what I'm saying? A little bit of luck.
I like that you said
I don't know
luck
what you're going to give
because
it.
we are going to deduct 2 points for luck. 98 points
Come
for
on,
talent.
man. It's a little high for my liking.
His head was in the right place, though.
Fair enough. We go over
Bad joke,
to SMU. How about
right
this?
there.
First team all-name selection, Moochie Dixon making the play.
Moochie, I see you, player.
Okay. See, Sam, this was more skill.
Yes, I
He
agree.
set it up, got his hand there. It was nice and soft.
That was
great
sweet.
ball. Got his legs in. This one truly deserves the grade that I'm going to give this.
What do you got?
I'll give you minus 2. 98.
You're doing the math in your head.
92.
We'll go with the 92.
You know why? Because that was actually my play. You took my play. That was my score right
You
there.
gave these ratings
It's unbelievable.
before, and I forgot I gave it a 92. It should have been 98, though.
All right, well, you
It's
like
all right.
you like that name. How about this name for Northern Illinois? Rocky Lombardi, their quarterback. That's a great name as well. And he throws
Rocky.
a pass downfield. Kyle Thomas for the 45-yard tip drill.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
that was nice.
That's
One-on-one, your guy versus their guy, let's just throw it up. Let's throw it up. Let's give him a shot.
And
Great
we're-
concentration
We're showing
right there.
love. We're showing love to everybody because, there wasn't that much people in that stadium.
No, you're right. You're right, Matt.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's for the kids. 90 for that score right there.
We'll rock with the 90.
90
That's
for
tough.
that, holy cow.
That's tough.
You might want to look away for this because UMass and UConn played today for the bowl for the bottom. That's exactly what this
The bottom bowl?
And UConn jumping the route, first defensive touchdown of the year. Guys, the best part about this is UConn turned UMass over 3 times in the first quarter.
Hey.
This was the only time they scored.
Hey.
And
I'll
they
tell you one
missed the
thing.
PAT.
Oh, my gosh.
If you can't tell, as a viewers out there, we got a UConn alum on set, and that's maybe the reason why this made it into the show. But that's all good. What you gonna give it, UConn?
There's only one score to give this. There's only one score. You got to go 3 digits here. You go 3 digits.
Well, what's confusing is that you didn't go to school there. And you chose to be a fan of that.
That's right.
That is, that's
I
America
thought
right
you went
there.
to school there.
No,
Freedom
did not
of
go to
choice.
school
Good
there.
for
We
you,
went
man.
as far away as possible.
Okay.
Went to Pepperdine. But
All
no,
right,
we
he
are
acts
still
like he did.
UConn fans.
He acts like he did.
We're still UConn fans, and that was
I
certainly
love
a highlight.
UConn. Going to Pepperdine.
Yes, absolutely. Last but certainly not least, Jaden Daniels, who certainly deserves to be in the Heisman conversation.
There
Check out
it
the
is.
grab.
Okay. All right. This is tough.
This is the real deal.
This is what I meant to give a 98. I'm already dropping it right now. Only reason why it didn't get a 100 because 100s are tough to give, man. And this is what he does all day, every day. Neighbors now has the record for most receptions by an LSU wide receiver. He's looking to break the receiving yard record.
sure is.
Next week, well done, my boy. 98.
And let's face it, man. I mean, Jaden, just hand him the Heisman already. I mean, who are we kidding?
Well, that was going to be
Who
my
are we
question.
kidding?
I mean, it certainly deserves a trip to New York, no doubt, right?
50
100%.
total touchdowns in one season. I mean, we saw how physical he's been all year with
Yeah.
his ability to throw, his running ability, his toughness. I mean, this dude is the
Such a
epitome of what the
problem.
Heisman is about.
Yeah, so that's
Which I really want.
That's right. Say that again? That's the good and whatever that is. How about the bad? Because there certainly is that across college football. How many times have we seen a kick pick this year? I feel like there's been a couple of them. We saw one.
Call this bruh.
We saw this one last night. Texas Tech, and a little pick there. Jet Bush.
No.
That's why you hustle the football right there.
Come on, bro.
You are right about that, man.
That is such a coaching line right there. Hustle to the ball.
Oh,
and
wait.
you get rewarded.
100% effort. All right.
Right.
I was debating whether or not that's a holy cow or a bruh, because it's impressive on both fronts. Great reaction time.
Real talk. It's great reflexes.
Yeah.
But we are going to bra you because, why not?
Well, Texas Tech has had that kind of a year.
You did that same thing later that night with something else.
Over in the Governor's Cup today, which is a hotly contested.
Hey, this is what this is what Instagram sees, right?
Yep. We got one Kentucky fan in a sea of red, and he is out there risking it all.
That's how you do it.
That's a brave man right there. That's a brave man.
Speaking of brave, coming out of the smoke, and we're tripping. Brett Venables, head coach, causing a pileup. Coming out, not only is this dangerous.
He's dead.
He's gone.
Never to be seen again. He's like Ichabod Crane, gone in a cloud of smoke.
He talked about this in his presser, and basically he said, yo, some people go out that way. He's like, I'm just glad to be here. You know what I'm saying?
He definitely caught a few stray cleats there on the side of his head.
No question about it.
That's why we had to bruh him.
That is why we call it bruh. That is the segment. So those were some of the best and some of the worst from Week 13. Well, it's gone final in Stillwater, Oklahoma State. This is the final play. BYU needing a score. Ball caught by the tight end, ripped out, and a fumble was the call. That ends the game, and Oklahoma State on their way to the Big 12 title game in a matchup with the Texas Longhorns.
Ball security, men. Ball security. Great play here. You could see if you saw the other angles, it is raining over there. Ball security is tough. Way to close the game out. Way to hold on.
So we talk about rivalry week. We talk about the Governor's Cup. This is up there with the Egg Bowl. It's up there with the Iron Bowl. I mean, this is really, really bad blood between these two. Matt Sims, of course, a part of this rivalry at one point. Third quarter, Louisville leading 17-7, and there's Berrien Brown. Wow. He's gone. Turns the Jets on.
What is the miles per hour on that one right there?
Real
Dude
talk.
was flying.
Fast. It just reads fast.
Y'all saw him.
24-14 next possession. Kentucky first and 10.
What a throw here by Leary.
Ray Davis.
His best throw of the whole season.
Out of the backfield, 20-yard touchdown. Louisville still up. Davis did just enough against the stout rushing defense of Louisville. Here he is again, a little bubble.
Great cut right there.
Ray Davis was on one. It was like he had the game breaker. Like when NFL Street had it back in the day, just couldn't be stopped.
All tied 31-31. Davis again, this time on the ground. 37 yards he rips off. Kentucky leading Louisville at this point. 37-31. And then with 9 seconds left, Plummer airing it out. And that was up in the air a little short.
It was not a Milrow throw.
Nope.
Intercepted. It wasn't a Milrow throw.
Jordan Lovett. Final score, Kentucky 38, Louisville 31. Louisville's hopes, albeit small, of reaching the college football playoff crushed by their rival Kentucky. Not a great look. Frustrating loss for the Cards, who also had their second loss of the season earlier against Pitt. So a disappointing season, but I don't think a lot of people thought they would be in this spot in the first place. But Jeff Brom has this team at 10-2. And they still have to play for an ACC title next week against Florida State. So they'll have to flush this quickly. But, a disappointing loss. There's no reason that Louisville should have lost this game. Jack Plummer had a couple mistakes, but credit Kentucky, what they were able to do. But this seems like kind of a letdown loss and maybe a look-ahead game for Louisville here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a letdown loss that way. This is a rivalry game. This is a game that I have experienced firsthand, and it is – like most rivalry games, it really doesn't matter if you are the superior football team in a lot of these games. You know each other really well. There's bad blood. The coaches know each other well, tendencies, all that kind of stuff. And it was a great battle. Kentucky defensively, guys like Derek Jackson played phenomenal. JJ Weaver, Deion Walker. These are guys that are going to be playing on Sunday again. Phenomenal football players on the defensive side of the football. And also, too, Kentucky, their strength of schedule, they've played a tough schedule this year, a tougher schedule than Louisville has. The fact that you said Louisville, they're 10-2. No one expected them to be here this soon, this early with the Jeff Brom reign that just took over. this team is not going anywhere anytime soon. They are going to be a problem in the ACC for a while because I know that the Brahms understand what it takes to win at Louisville. They were there the first time that it was so successful. They'll be able to recreate that and maybe even make it even better this time around.
Still a lot on the line. I mean, look, they're trying to win an ACC championship.
Right.
And they've never done, and they're still relatively new to this conference, so they have a great chance to do it, too.
They for sure do.
It's pretty simple when you look at the box score for Louisville because they hurt themselves, and we're just looking at the ACC top 6 right now. Obviously, Florida State, this loss also hurts them in a sense because if you're Florida State, you want the highest-ranked Louisville to come into the ACC championship game, and now the committee is going to say there's a reason why we have Missouri ranked over Louisville, even though they had 2 losses and Louisville only had 1. That be against Pitt. But I look at the box score for this game, guys. Louisville dominated from every single statistical standpoint. Louisville had over 400 yards of offense. Kentucky had 289. Louisville had 161 yards rushing. Kentucky had 83. Louisville had 3 penalties. Kentucky had 0. Louisville had 3 turnovers. Kentucky had 1. So football is quite simple. You turn the ball over, you're going to end up losing the game. And you only lost it by 1 score to a team that you should have been better at. And maybe that's the rivalry thing where a little jitters, you'll get messed up. But you dominated this game from a statistical standpoint. You just made more mistakes.
And that stat line, all those things that you just said, sounded very similar to Michigan-Ohio State today.
Yeah.
And that's really what it can. And, all the stats are great. The main goal is, just score more points than their football team. And
don't
that's
turn
what
the ball
Michigan
over.
did. And that's what Kentucky did today. So.
All right. So speaking of Florida State, let's take a look at how the Noles are faring in the swamp tonight in Gainesville. No Jordan Travis again for Florida State. He suffered the season-ending injury last week.
No Graham Mertz for
That's
Florida
correct.
either. Oh! Is he okay?
My God.
Oh, man, that was it. Oh, helmet to helmet. They gonna call it, y'all. Y'all know how today's football go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even if that
helmet to helmet,
even if that's a penalty, he's still going to feel the effects of that for quite some time.
That's Max Brown, by the way, the backup quarterback for Graham Mertz, who was injured recently as well.
If this is Sonic, there'll be gold coins on the floor.
Oh.
Yep.
They called it.
Y'all know how it is. You better keep that head up, go low, hit him right in the gut. Like that's what we want.
What they got. Really good timing here with the pressure.
Oh, he did not see it.
They saw it late, but they did not adjust to it, which was the real question.
Where did he get hit in the head? Show me. Come on.
Hands to the face?
No, his shoulder hit him in the face, but is it even that? He kept his head up? I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
I'm not a fan of that one. I understand that we're trying to protect quarterbacks and all that kind of stuff, the most violent game out there other than being in a cage and fighting. But, it's just,
come on,
I don't know what else you can really do in that situation. Bad call, but hey, that's what it is. So now regroup and make a stop.
They didn't do it as targeting. They just made it a personal foul.
That's right.
Really good defense right there. And Max Brown, good athlete, moves better than Graham Mertz. So we expect to see Florida use him in a little bit of a different sense than Graham Mertz being a traditional drop-back quarterback.
Good point.
We'll see if that plays into their favor. The other thing that we got to look in here for Tate Rodemaker, the starter for Florida State, first-time starters do not fare well in the swamp. And, if you look at the history, first-time starters the past 3 or 4 years, all of them have lost. So he would have to be the first that has done that in probably about 3 or 4 years.
We'll see here, 2nd and goal before we dip out. We got a lot of other games to get to, and Florida strikes first. So Florida gets on the board. No doubt that's going to be a loud atmosphere down there in Gainesville, and maybe one of the more unpredictable games of rivalry week when you have 2 backup quarterbacks. Mike Norvell obviously not too pleased with it, with an undefeated record on the line and playoff hopes still alive. This is probably one of the toughest games. I mean, you've got a backup quarterback.
It is so tough. So tough to play there. Last year, we had AJ McCarthy working with us, and he talked about how it feels like the crowd is on top of you at the swamp.
Yeah.
And I know you can speak to this as well, Matt. And that is one of the reasons why it's so difficult for a guy who hasn't started much games to come into the swamp and win it. And right now, Rodemaker hasn't had the best start to the game. 1 for 2, 4 yards. on the day.
All right, you guys ready to make some picks?
Let's do it, brother.
All right, here, before we do, let's look back because these are the last picks we're making.
You see your boy.
Last picks we're making.
You see your boy.
Scuba's got a I don't know what to call it, 2-game lead.
What is that? Pressure is on? No, it ain't.
No, pressure's on.
Only thing pressure making over here is diamonds.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the conference championship games, and we're going to pick
My
a lot
mic
of them
fell out.
because I need to come back and take the lead. So that's why we're doing all the conference
You need
championships.
to pick me up. You need to
That's
pick
right.
me up.
All right, so Washington against Oregon, Part 2 in Las Vegas next week. Washington just able to pick up the win over Washington State
Barely.
as well.
Got it.
Barely able to get by there. So does Washington stay undefeated, or does Oregon get some revenge? Guys, I'm going with Washington because, as we just saw, they have been pushed to the edge multiple times this year, but they are able to come up with wins. So that's why I'm going with Washington. Scoob, who you got here?
Man, you know what I got. I'm going with what I pick. Oregon. Yeah, I
You forgot who you picked?
check. You
That
feel me?
shouldn't count.
He's done that multiple times. Multiple times this year. Very questionable.
At the
Very
end of the day, we
questionable.
get it down. I will go with Oregon, especially with the way that they've been playing. And now let me get some real analysis here.
Yeah. Break it down.
Oregon has been winning convincingly ever since they lost that game.
They looked great yesterday.
To Washington. Yeah, really good against a good Oregon State team. And now this Washington team, we've seen them kind of struggle in multiple games. Last week, they didn't score a point in the second half. This week against Washington State, a team that has struggled. Granted, I know it's a rivalry game. They barely squeaked by. I think Oregon is on that hot streak, and Washington, they're kind of getting in there, but who knows, man? Anything could happen. I'm still rolling with Oregon.
No doubt. No doubt. And I think, for this one, I'm going with Oregon. I feel like they recover, right, from the first meeting. I think that Bo Nix, besides Jaden Daniels, is playing some of the best quarterback play that we've seen in the country right now. Dude has been lights out as far as what he's doing. The offense, their identity as a football team, I think just the coaching staff learning from their mistakes against Washington the first time around, I think Oregon actually wins this game pretty handily.
Okay, fair enough. So we got 2 Oregon, 1 Washington. That means a win for me. All right, we go to the Big Ten championship
Let's go.
game.
He's 1-0.
We knew that Iowa was going to be in it. We had to wait. Oh, we're going to go to the SEC here. Okay, we'll go to the SEC. We'll go Georgia, Alabama. Alabama nearly saw their playoff hopes disappear into the night air in Auburn tonight, but they were able to win. Alabama and Georgia, this is going to be another close one. A lot of people saying if Alabama wins, they still won't be in. I'm going to take Georgia. I think until proven otherwise, I don't see how they're not the best team in the country. But
I see y'all some of y'all on the YouTube chat saying Alabama going to win it. Ken Foster, Alabama going to win the championship. No, I beg to differ. I'm going with Georgia because they're the best team. You see how Alabama barely got by. Listen, they got a lot of nice cars on that Georgia sideline, and they just don't have enough on Alabama's.
Okay. Do they have enough cars, Matty?
Roll Tide.
Yeah, okay.
Roll Tide.
Way to save the graphic.
You guys, you're scared. That's all it is. You're scared. You're just going with what we think we know. And we don't know anything.
That's right.
Alabama is going to win this game.
Very well put. All right, now we go to the Big Ten. I jumped the gun
my
there.
analysis.
Michigan and Iowa. This is going to be maybe a low-scoring game. JJ McCarthy looked really good today, able to make the passes. I'm going to go Michigan here, Scoob. What do you got?
Iowa. Nah, Michigan.
Michigan as well
Michigan,
for me.
okay.
So clean sweep across the board.
Okay, very good. We go to the Big 12 now, which is now finalized. We know it'll be Oklahoma State and Texas. A lot of orange in that one. I'm going to go Oklahoma State because, as we saw in the graphic, I need some wins here. So we're going to Oklahoma State. Go Pokes!
Hook 'em, baby. Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.
All right, both of you
Real
going hook 'em.
simple.
All right.
Yeah, best team.
We just touched upon it. ACC title game. Louisville trying to win it for the first time and going up against Florida State team, who we will see how they do down in the swamp
It's a
tonight.
tough one. We have no idea what Florida State is, but go ahead and make a pick, Sam.
Yeah, I'm going Louisville.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll just go with FSU. I'm going to respect that running game and that team in this game.
Okay.
Florida State, the more talented football team, but I'm going with the Cards.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Hell yeah, brother.
Of course he is. Right. That's exactly right.
We got to give a high five after that one. Yeah.
That's great. So we have a couple extra picks just for me because I was so bad this year that I needed some extra credit.
We want to help you.
I know, I understand.
We want you to look better.
But this
We
could
want
make
you
it
to
worse,
graduate.
though. This could make it worse.
Yeah.
We understand that, right?
It's going to make it worse. It absolutely is. You have no chance with these others.
Scared money don't make no money.
No, Miami, Toledo. I'll go Toledo just because they beat Miami of Ohio earlier this year.
How many times have you seen either of those teams play?
I have seen some action this year.
And holy
Tuesday
cow,
night, Wednesday
you
night.
know.
Yeah, that's right. That's the only time we see it. Right?
And on the first day, God created
Action.
Nice. New Mexico State and Liberty. I will be picking Liberty. Undefeated a year removed from Hugh Freeze, so I think Liberty wins it.
I love that.
And that means we'll go 0-2 for those picks. That's
The
exactly.
detail of your picks.
That's right. All right, where we go? We're going to Washington and Washington State. This game just went final, Scoop.
The Apple Cup, and Dylan Johnson here in the first takes a handoff and pounds his way into the end zone. Washington up 7-0 early, but back come the Cougars. Cam Ward finds Josh Kelly, and he gets in the end zone. What a throw. Good catch. We're tied at 7. Second quarter. Penix off the play fake. Who do you think he finds here, guys? Rome Odunze.
Man, how do you just let that dude
Wide
get behind
open.
you? It's
It was a
unbelievable.
breakdown. The DB slipped in the play, and that dance,
good, Sam.
that's that dance.
Yeah.
Sam, you're going to do that when we come back off camera. All right, Ward throwing a perfect pass to Sam Lockett over here so he can throw it too. Anything you can do, I can do better. Washington ties the game at 14, 10 seconds left in the third. Penix says, all right, I hope you know I'm up for Heisman, my boy. Pump fake. How about a perfect back shoulder?
Wow.
This is what they've been doing all season.
They just
did
flipped the
it
field.
to beat Oregon. They did it last week to convert a fourth down, and they do it now to take a 21-14 lead. Fourth quarter. Cam Ward, he was going to work earlier this season too. One of the best in the country. Finds Lincoln Victor, takes it in for 6. We're tied at 21. Washington trying to win the game. Penix getting sick because he sees his kicker with the game on his shoulders, and he did it. The kickers don't upset. We're not going to overtime. Penix
You can't look.
still sick, can't even look. But they did it. 24-21, the final. They go in to the Pac-12 championship game undefeated against who, Sam?
Undefeated against Oregon, right? What do we?
Well, how did Oregon
Well,
do last night?
They did really, really well. And Bo Nix might have solidified a Heisman candidacy. Certainly last night, when you see them running out on the field, you know the Ducks, they coming. And they come with Bo Nix, finding Bucky Irving out of the backfield. He goes in for the touchdown. Oregon takes the early lead. Now let's just flip it to the second quarter, and let's just watch Bo Nix do what he does, calling his own number, taking it in for the score. Matty, he can hurt you in a variety of ways. Maybe that's what makes him so dangerous.
Dude is big, strong, experienced, throws the ball extremely well in the pocket and on the run. I mean, Bo Nix is a really, really good quarterback and has been an absolute privilege to watch him this year.
This is maybe one of the more impressive throws he's made this season.
On the
Flushed out of the
running,
pocket,
so good.
across his body, finds Troy Franklin, who goes in for the score.
What
It's
is
like
that?
a video game out there.
That was awesome. Great play. Great, just, to find someone down the field that way across your body like that, to throw with such ease, just speaks to his talent.
Yeah, there's a number next to Oregon State's name. This ain't no pushover team.
No, it certainly is. And Jordan James takes the handoff, fights his way to the end zone. Oregon piles it on. They win it 31-7. Look, some of the throws that Bo Nix was making last night were just incredible. 367. I also want to talk about Oregon holding Oregon State to just 53 rushing yards in the game.
I am so glad you mentioned that.
This is
Look
the
at that.
third
He
best
had it in
rushing-
his handy dandy. Did you have that in your handy dandy notebook?
I absolutely did.
It's the third best rushing team in the Pac-12, and Oregon holds them to 53 rushing yards.
And that's what's crazy to me. That's where I feel like Oregon, they're really impressive on the defensive side of the football. I mean, the physicality that they play with, they are too deep on the defensive line and the back end. They do a lot of different looks for quarterbacks. They do a great job of making plays when footballs are thrown in the air in that secondary. So I just feel like this defense, second time around now against Washington, huge advantage for them. Huge advantage. I know that they're going to be excited. They're going to be chomping at the bit for this opportunity against Rome Odunze and the boys. And I feel like I give them that slight edge because, one, it's tough to beat a really good football team twice in 1 year. And Oregon knows that they were the better team the first time, and that they missed a few moments of execution and decision making. And this is something that I feel like
these last 2 plays, these
no doubt
went for it on 4th down.
No doubt.
Both of them.
And it's going to be, I think, very difficult for Oregon to repeat the blunders that they had in this first matchup.
Oregon has scored 30-plus points in 12 straight games.
Yeah.
I said it earlier in the show. They've been dog-walking people ever since they lost that game against Washington. And not only are they great on the defensive side, as you just touched on, Matt, I just want to talk about the offensive side, because Troy Franklin is an NFL wide receiver with the way that he's been playing. Absolutely phenomenal the whole year. And Bo Nix has only been sacked 5 times. Just 5 times, completing nearly 80% of his passes. That is remarkable at the Division I football level, playing this well. Now, the thing about Oregon that the people have talked about when it comes down to the college football playoff is their resume hasn't looked that great. Last night's win is their best win of the entire season. It was Utah, but then Utah got bumped out of the top 25, which, mind you, I don't even think that should have happened. I think Tennessee should have been bumped out, but that's another discussion.
Whole other thing. We don't have time for that.
Whole other discussion. But that was a huge win for them to show the committee that, yes, our resume may not be that great, but you see the eye test. It's going to keep on coming down. Is it the most deserving team? Is it the team that looks the best? Is it the best team? Right now, Oregon looks the best, and they got a win that was huge for the resume. And now, let's see what you can do against Washington and Vegas.
We got about 5 minutes left, and we haven't really talked CFP or rankings yet. So why don't we go ahead and talk a little about it? Like, top 4 right now after today. Let's assume Florida State, and a big assumption, let's assume that they are able to get the job done in Gainesville. But, I mean, let's assume that. Here's the flip that happened this week. Washington now, the new number 4. Florida State bumped out of the top 4, now sitting at 5.
Okay.
You see their comparisons there. I'm going to throw 4 at you and tell me why I'm wrong. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State.
All right, that's your top 4.
Yeah.
I still think Florida State being undefeated, if they lose, or I mean, if they win ugly this week and next week versus Louisville, has probably the best chance to still not make the top 4, even though they're undefeated.
Okay.
If they are ugly wins and they're still undefeated, I could really see the College Football Playoff Committee saying, yeah, we know they're undefeated, but we do think that a 1-loss Texas team, a 1-loss Alabama team, or an Oregon team is probably better than them if we were to say if they were to play. So I feel like Florida State is the most at risk out of all those teams right there to be undefeated and still not make it.
Tate Rodemaker is under the biggest magnifying glass
No
of
doubt.
any quarterback in college football this week. And right now, we're in the second quarter, and he is 2 for 4 for 12 yards. That is all that we have, averaging 3 yards per completion. And there's plenty of ball game left. There's about 13 minutes left in the second quarter.
Florida State's been consistently a slow starter, though, I feel like the entire
they've been
year.
able to lean on Jordan Travis because
No
some
doubt.
points, he's just like, you know what, I got us, and makes a play.
You're right.
So right now, I think your point is so true, Matt, that they can go undefeated and win this game ugly. And I think the committee will still look at it like, let's say Oregon ends up beating Washington, and that last spot is up to if Oregon or Texas or Bama gets in. Those teams are going to get in before Florida State.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Georgia wins out. They're going to stay in that 1 position. No doubt.
Yep.
Absolutely. Michigan, we don't think they're going to have any issue with Iowa. They're going to probably be in the number 2 position, if not swap with Georgia for the 1 spot. So they're automatic. Everything is going to really rely upon that Pac-12 championship, right, if that is the case. Can Oregon redeem themselves from earlier, get that revenge, and then, that's where all these crazy things could happen.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly interesting. But you made the point earlier, Scoop, too, that it may just come down to who looks the best in their conference championship game next week.
Real talk.
I mean, you look at can Texas just blow out Oklahoma State? And then they leave no doubt.
We're going to be watching the conference championship. Well, this team won by 7, and you guys won by 6.
But that's not.
I do want everyone to remember at home that room is very similar to this room right here. To your living room. It's people saying, if so-and-so plays so-and-so, who do you think would win? And that's really the science that our civilization in the year 2023 has come up with.
It's an imperfect science at that, no question about it. But so I gave you my top 4. We all agree? I mean, is that where we're leaving the final week of the regular season at?
Maybe I got a little recency. I have to see more of Florida State. And right now, just from what I've seen, the first minute and some change, quarter and some change, you guys got to go.
Yeah.
you gotta hit the dough. You gotta go.
All right. So what an incredible regular season it has been. If you're still around, please stick around. 11 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be on the wrap up. Scubie and I, check us out on YouTube. We'll be there. Matt will be back next week as we break down all of the conference championship title
Watch the wrap
games.
up tonight at 11 to 11:30 with Sam and myself.
With these two, I go home. See ya.
Thanks
More
so much
football.
for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T. We will see you next week, everybody.
Phil Simms, you the man.
Yeah.